What is up, everybody? Welcome to Monk and Lou's Happy Hour. It's your boy Monk, and it is Lou Betya underneath. Lou has been quite a naughty boy on social media.
He really hasn't, though. That's the funny part.
Free Lou, hashtag free Lou. Yeah, guys, welcome. Happy Hour UFC Vegas 86, aka the card before UFC 298. 14 fights. I mean, it's a card. There's some decent matchups and a shitload of newcomers, so we'll try to give you a couple of good spots to pick here. Lou, how are you doing? Looking forward to this one.
So let me just explain the Twitter jail situation for those that were like, where'd Lou go? So Twitch Brian, who puts together all like the handicapper splits every week, like does a really good job with the spreadsheets. So he like did some tweet. He had come back, like he did some tweet like about last year's standings or whatever. And Monk, just is like killing the game last year. Like he's like first place or whatever across the board. So of course there's back and forth. There's our usual banter on the thread. And Monk, I'm threatening Monk, like, of course. And he's like, yeah, bitch, or something like that. I'm paraphrasing, probably something like that. And I wrote, I would hit you with a tire iron and not lose sleep over it. And that tweet, and if you follow me, this is like, I could name 9,900 tweets I've made that are like way worse than that. That tweet got me suspended from Twitter. So I'm appealing it. Monk's going to appeal it. Since Monk's the one I incited the violence against.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to get that out of the way. So your boy Lou's not going anywhere. And, I will incite violence against whoever reported it. But
yeah, that's insane.
Maybe I'll take as Christopher Walken would say, I'll take a soldering iron to him.
Yeah.
But as far as this card, I am not excited for the betting perspective of it. There's some fights I want to watch, but there's a lot of wide lines that do not get me thrilled to lay it on action. But that's what we're here for, man, to talk it through.
Let's go. Shout out the chat. Daz Easy in the chat as well. Thank you guys for hanging out. Hit the like, hit the subscribe to the MMA Engine, and let's get right into it, Lou. First fight, Daniel Marcos taking on Orichi Lang. Get the pronunciation correct there. Plus 130 doesn't go. Minus 160 does go. Minus 257 for Marcos. Plus 217 for Orichi. 9,300, 6,900. Yes, Steve, that is very, very true. Let's see. How many fights? 14. Yeah, why don't you get us started off with this one here, Lou?
Yeah, these are going to be shorter breakdowns than usual tonight also, just so you guys know. I think Marcos is the side. I don't like that he gets tired as fights go on, but Orichi Lang does as well. I know he's at fight ready. I know that, so he's probably going to be in the best shape of his life. I just think Marcos is a better striker. I think that Marcos mixes the kicks in well. I think he probably wins a 29-28 here. I personally do not like betting wide lines on fights where I think it's going to go to decision more often than not. Also, we just saw Marcos steal a decision against Davey Grant, a fight that I don't think he won. So don't be surprised if this fight is super, super, super close. If maybe there's a little bit of karma right back to him and Orichi Lang steals a split here, but no bet for me. No interest in betting it. I like Marcos. He's fun to watch, but Orichi Lang, other than the Zahabi fight, he's a pretty tough dude. You beat him by submitting him. Marcos is not taking him down here. So, and I imagine for you, for DK, this is like a massive pass.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Marcos, didn't tell us much, beating Simon Oliveira in his first fight. And then Davey Grant, like Lou said, he stole a decision. Won, 54 points in that one, landed only 48 strikes, one takedown, didn't do anything. What's up, Justin? Yeah, 9,300 going to be a bit too expensive for me. Meanwhile, the Mongolian Murderer on the other side, I don't know how much. I think he's an okay punt play for GPPs, but beating Cameron Else, Jay Perrin, and Johnny Munoz Jr. is not doing it for me. And getting KO'd in 1 minute by Ayman Zahabi also.
What do you think about him in cash?
I think
Marcos, but Orichi Lang is just to fill a roster spot.
I think it's okay because I think it's going to go. I think it's probably going to go to decision. I mean, the line. I'm not saying anything crazy by saying that it's minus 160, but there's some wider lines than that on this card for sure. And I think it goes to decision. If it does, if he doesn't get knocked out in the first round, I think he can score okay. I mean, he put up 36 points against Cody Durden, and that's while getting taken down 5 times and controlled for 38% of that 15 minutes. So, yeah, I don't think he's bad for cash as a punt play there at 6,900. In fact, when I make my lineup tomorrow, I might just have to think about that. Next fight. I didn't do anything on purpose to this one. This is
No,
all
I know. That's his picture. I know.
that's his picture. Yeah, he looks like I don't know, maybe I don't know what he looks like. Jersey Shore comes to mind. Who's that? Paulie D. Hyder Emil taking on Fernie Garcia. Plus 150. He looks more like the situation. Plus 150, minus 180. Fight goes to decision. Minus 200 for newcomer, plus 170 for Fernie, 87 and 75. Look, I would normally be all over Fernie Garcia. I've made my name over the past couple weeks by fading Thomas the Trains and just generally guys that are rushed through the Contender Series and then rushed into the UFC. Have less than have a single digit number of pro fights and they're in the UFC. So I like fading those guys, but man, Fernie Garcia, 0-3, lost to Journey Newsom, Brady Highstand, Rinya Nakamura, who I think is probably the best one out of the bunch there. But Fernie hasn't done much. He put up 33 against Highstand in a loss, but only 15 in a 3-round decision loss to Newsom and 13 against Nakamura. Meanwhile, Emil, I'm not excited about him, man. Yeah, he won his fight, but in the Dana White Contender Series, he would have only scored 57, had 5 takedowns landed against him, landed only 26 strikes, not even 2 strikes a minute if you do the math. So I guess I have to play Emil, but I'm also gonna play some of Fernie at 75. I don't know. I wouldn't classify this as a must-play fight, but Jesus Christ. Does Fernie even belong here? That's the question.
No, he's in the ring to my left. He's the jobber.
Yeah.
They're setting up Emil with. This is Emil's 3rd opponent, by the way, for this fight. It's something to bear mention.
That's
People
true.
withdrawing here. And look, if we know anything about the way Dana White operates, because Garcia took this fight on short notice, even
and he's up a weight class.
Because he took this fight on short notice, Dana White will give him like a 3-fight extension.
Sure.
Like he will. He'll be like, thanks for doing it. Like, dude, Chase Sherman extended his UFC career by like 10 years. Just by like continuously accepting late minute fights. They'd be like, all right, we'll give you another 3 fights to get murdered. I like Emil here. Short notice notwithstanding. I think he's pretty well rounded. I think he's gonna probably be making leaps and bounds here too. I like his takedown defense it's hard to judge. Not like Fernie Garcia is really going for takedowns, but like in his fight against Contender Series with Samez, he went for 23 takedowns. He stuffed 5 of them, or he stuffed 18 of them, I should say. But it got to the point where like it was becoming very predictable. So I don't think that like if a guy's going to try to take you down every single time, like at some point, like they just become easier to stop. So jury's still out if his takedown defense is great, but I do think he's got way more powerful hands here than Garcia. He's got 3 or 4 inch reach advantage too. So I think he'll be landing the harder shots. Probably wins by decision. I did see, I don't know if it was Wheezy. Somebody played the under. It was like plus 180 when they got it. And I'm like, yeah, you're at that point, if you're going to bet the under, you probably just want to take Emil in the distance. Like if it's not too much, because Emil in the distance is probably like 350 range. So,
right.
But again, you'll hear this a lot tonight. No interest in betting this fight. You'll hear this. You will hear this for all but maybe 2 fights on this card.
Yeah,
like, it's just not a card I want to get invested in,
especially with 298 coming up next week.
Yeah.
Next fight,
the fucking Casper.
Next fight, Zach Paunga. There's apparently a silent and invisible N in there, taking on Bogdan Guskov, aka NoHo Hank. Minus 325 fight doesn't go. Plus 250 does go. Minus 129, slight favorite for old Zach. Plus 109 for Bogdan, 84 and 78. Lou, why don't you start us off with this light heavyweight showdown?
So that's a Bowery reference. You just made a little Bowery reference.
Yeah, that's NoHo Hank right there.
I like that. Great show. If you guys never watched it.
Oh, you have? Yeah.
Okay, so if I'm gonna get involved in this one, because this one is one I'm thinking about doing, I was gonna take Guskov round 1, round 2, or just like make a same game parlay on DK at like. But the round 1, round 2 on my one book was plus 170, and I'm not gonna break it down technically. I want to break it down from a betting perspective. This dude was getting a lot of like love against Volkan Oezdemir, who I would make like a minus 800 favorite over Pauga. Like just a way, like a good gatekeeper for the top 5 Uzdemir is well-rounded, like,
Yep.
showed off his submission game. Like, dude, Uzdemir, like, doesn't look like much, but he's good. And he's well-rounded. And he's smart. So, like, dude, Uzdemir just kicked this dude's ass. He was plus 140, 145 when that fight went off, okay?
Yeah.
So how's he, like, only, like, how's he, like, then you would think against Palgo, who has shown nothing, took cage pushed Jordan Wright to a decision, got knocked out by fucking Walmart Usman. Like, I don't know what he does well. Like, could he get a knockout on Guskov? Like, look, I know Guskov just got dominated by Uzdemir, but, like, this is a big step down from Volkan Uzdemir.
Huge.
Like, and the line is even suggesting it. So, yeah, I like Guskov to, like, I don't think Palga is very good. I don't think Palga, you know, again, unless Guskov gets, like, just stuck against the cage and can't get out of, like, a grind, I think he probably knocks Palga out. Like, if they're at any kind of sustained, you know, range, like any sustained time at range, like, I think Guskov can just knock him out. So for me, that's the play. As I pass this to you at DK, I don't know how you ever play Palga. Like, I mean, what did he get against Jordan Wright?
74.
50? No way. Did he have like a lot of takedowns or
no? A lot of control time, Lou. 57, almost 58%. So it was all that cage pushing you were talking about.
That's like
trash.
That's absurd.
Trash. Still a trash number to put up in general, but especially against Jordan Wright, who get finished by everyone. Yeah, Zach Palga at 80, even at 8,400, cheap for a favorite, super unplayable. Yeah, excuse me. It's I'm going with the guy that I called a fraud against Volkan, and because like you said, gigantic step down. Give me Guskov here because his upside is much higher than Palga, and you're paying $600 less than you would for Zach. So I don't have anything to add on that. GPPs, this is I'm gonna have some Guskov in there, and I'm gonna play him in cash too. Zach, I'm probably not gonna play at all, to be quite honest. I mean, by it all, I mean like 10% is my minimum basically in GPPs. I never go zero. That's a real that's a real picture.
Monk literally just called him. No,
but yeah, I don't have anything else to say about that. Give me NoHo Hank for the win. Next fight, Jeremiah Wells, Max Payne Griffin. What a good nickname there. Minus 130 doesn't go. Plus 100 does. Minus 149 for Wells. Plus 129 and 85.77 for DraftKings. Look, man, of course, I was on Wells like all week. He's looked great. I mean, for lack of a better word, yeah, he's fought Blood Diamond and Worley Alves. I won't talk shit ever about
guy to submit Blood Diamond. He's the only guy to ever.
That's true. That is true. And Matthew Semmelsberger, that win isn't aging great because Semmelsberger looks terrible since then for the most part, and was beating Carlston Harrison until he wasn't. So I was all over that for DK. But honestly, man, Max Griffin, 4 knockdowns in his past 5 fights. He knocked down Song Kanon, Carlos Condit, Neil Magny, and Tim Means. Won 3 of those fights. And only lost to Magny and Michael Morales, who's a young up-and-coming, pretty high-class striker. Not too, not super high volume, but decent on the feet. I kind of talked myself into a Max Griffin play. I mean, he beat Song Kanon. I guess that was a knockout. I guess I won't count that. But his other wins, he hasn't scored terribly well, but he's only 7,700 this week, and I don't like a lot of dogs. So I'm going to play both sides in GPPs, and honestly, for cash, if I make a couple of lineups, I might just split them up because I want to hear what you have to say. I haven't heard anybody on Griffin this week, to be honest, but you're going to say something different. So, Wells, obviously, huge takedown upside, huge DraftKings upside. But if he gets stuffed going in for takedowns, I think this could go to decision, and Griffin ekes out a decision. So what do you got for this one?
See, I've seen everybody on Griffin, and the line movement certainly illustrates that.
That's true.
I have not seen, I think the only person I've seen on Wells is Norco. And
well, why is everybody fading him just because he lost to Carlston Harris?
Well, I think at some point you looked at the line. I mean, when the line was the plus 180 range, like, it made sense. And now And now at this number, I wouldn't bet Griffin at this number at this point. In terms of
plus 180.
Now, in terms of what I think here, I think Griffin's takedown defense is pretty good. He's a couple of outliers in his fights where, like, I think he got taken down like 6 times one time, but like in all, it's pretty good. But the one thing I like about Griffin the most is that even though he's not the highest volume guy, he's going to be the minute winner here because Wells is just not a minute winner at all. Like, if he gets a takedown, he's like immediately going for just murder.
Right.
Like, he's not like trying to really get like 3.5 minutes of grappling time each round. And the other thing I like about Griffin is he's really good at like rolling his punches and like and not taking big shots. Like, he might get like even Morales, who I think is going to be really good and super athletic, like wasn't really landing a ton of clean shots on Griffin. Like, he threw a lot of punches, he hit him on the arm a lot, but for the most part, Griffin was able to avoid that. And that's I don't know how Wells really wins the decision here, because I think every minute this fight goes, it's going to be on the feet, just Griffin like pitter patter, like more volume, even if the shots don't look great, and the optics are going to be that him just doing the more work. If Wells has success with the takedowns, that's a different story here, and I think that's just Wells' path. But
yeah,
we'll see, man. I mean, like Wells Court McGee is older. He did knock him out, which is super impressive, as McGee's always been like really tough. But Carlston Harris, who like we both like I love watching that guy. I think he's good. He looked really good until he didn't. The Semelsberger fight is the one that concerns you because he was just wide open. Now, he doesn't have to worry about Max Griffin. I know you mentioned the knockdowns Griffin has, but Griffin doesn't hit like Semelsberger. So I don't think Wells has to worry about being knocked out. But I think Griffin probably wins the decision here at 29-28. But I'm no longer interested in this line because betting a guy like that, you're sweating 15 minutes. He doesn't get one shot. And I don't think Wells' cardio is bad either, by the way. Like, his cardio has been decent, like when we've seen him go to the 3rd round. It's good against Semelsberger. So
he's got a tattoo of brass knuckles on his ribs, Lou.
Well.
How do I not bet him? Let's see. Devin Clark. A lot of True Detective references on his chest there. Taking on Marcin Prachnio. Plus 120 doesn't go. Minus 150 does go. Minus 222 for Devin Clark. Plus 187 for Marcin Prachnio. 89-73. Why don't you start us off here? 187. Does that mean Prachnio's going to get murdered?
Yeah. So I like Clark to win. I'm not excited to bet him at minus 200 range because it's Devin Clark. Very clear path here with takedowns. And Prachnio is not like some high volume guy on his feet either. So even if Clark does keep it upright, I think it's going to be hilarious because neither guy is what I would consider a good striker. But on the ground, it would be night and day. There is a prop that I'm going to get to, though. I have not bet anything yet. But I was looking at like Devin Clark round 3, like round 2, round 3, or just round 3 in the KO. Clark's not a one-punch guy, but I do think with Prachnio being so bad off his back that I think Clark is just going to wear him out and land ground and pound. And I do think he can get like an attritional KO as this fight goes on and just land a lot of damage. But yeah, I mean, he's probably an all right parlay piece if you like doing that. You know, my feelings on those kind of plays. Like, I typically try not to make those parlays, but yeah, I like him. I think he's fairly good here. The problem I have that I sent it back to you is you have a guy who I think is going to win at a high clip, who has takedown equity here. He's 8,900 though, and his name is Devin Clark.
Yeah.
Like, are you paying extra because it's like for his dad? Like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know, like, how you line him. Like, I get that DraftKings lines based on money line. Like, I completely understand that. But like, and you can't play Prachnio because Prachnio, even in a win, he doesn't 10x his salary.
No. I mean, he put up 104 against Ike Villanueva, who I don't even think is a real fighter.
What did he put up against William Knight?
Oh, a whopping 61.
In a win.
In a win, yeah. In a win. And ironically, both his losses, pretty good scores for losses, 41 points on average. So I don't even know what that says. But yeah, I'm not playing Prachnio. Probably, yeah, especially in cash, but oh God. And Devin Clark, I said this on the Pub Sports Show, like half of my picks started with, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but, and yeah, I think Devin Clark is an okay play. He's not even 9K this week. I know he's just under, but still get a little bit of savings there. he scored a shit. Prachnio beat William Knight and scored 61. Devin Clark put up 107 against William Knight, knocked him out in the 3rd round. So maybe we'll see some of that. A takedown, like you said, some ground and pound control time. We get some double points there. Maybe we get a little late finish and he pays off the salary, but my God, he's only beaten Daun Jung and William Knight in his last 5, lost to Kutalaba, Mirzakhanov, and Kennedy and Chukwu. I mean, this fight just...
The Jung win was good, by the way. And I had a couple of sharp people that I'm friends with that like all week we're telling you he's the side, and I'm like,
yeah, I was not on that.
I'm like, I can't say it, and then he made him look bad, but
exactly, and even in that win, he only put up 81. So don't expect him to, burn the boats or anything with his performance, but I think he gets it. I don't know how you could put money or tons of ownership on Marcin Prachnio. Just good Lord. And he hasn't been knocked out down in his past 5, but before that it was like 4 times in 3 fights. It was brutal. He has some of the most hilarious knockdowns of all time. And it's like if Woody came to life and then as soon as you punched his face, he just went back to being dead. It's just so funny. Loma looked booed me prior to the strawweight division, taking on Bruno Brazil. Plus 150 doesn't go, minus 180 does go. This line, minus 270 for women's strawweight, plus 230 for Brazil, 94 and 6,800. Yeah, for cash, I guess if you really wanted to play Loma, you could. Her number actually isn't bad, 85 per win, but she's $9,400 this week, so I don't expect her to pay that off whatsoever. Bruno Brazil, I mean, she beat Shauna Bannon. Girl had like 6 professional fights total in her entire life.
And she beat her 29-28.
Exactly. Yes. She only scored 71 points in that fight. I am not too interested in Brazil, even at that price. I mean, I might play her if I need a punt play, but I don't think she's going to win. I think Luma probably wins by decision. I don't expect an Elise Reed performance here, but I think she wins by decision. I don't know if her score is going to be serviceable. It's probably going to be in that 85 range, and that's not going to be anywhere close to serviceable. So for cash, I don't mind it, but I would honestly look elsewhere overall for this fight. Lou, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just not to be repetitive. It's another fight where like I look at the number and I'm just not really excited here. So I just am not impressed with Bruno Brazil. I do think like she can have success on the feet. I don't think Loma is going to be steamrolling over takedowns for 15 minutes, but I do think she's going to get them because Loma is going to just fight through it and get her against the cage and just work it down. I think as soon as Bruno Brazil has her back against the cage, that's where Loma is going to. If you watch her fight, that's where she's getting a lot of her takedowns. It's like in the clinch, get her in the cage and get her down. So here's what I would suggest if you really feel the need to bet this fight, and you can't do this bet yet, which means I can't price it for you. But tomorrow night, DraftKings should have same game parlays for everything. It's wishy-washy with what they do, especially with stuff on the prelim cards. But if they maybe Bet Online will have this prop too. But if you can find like Loma round 1 plus takedown and parlay that with like the over 1.5 or some shit, you might get like a decent number there. I don't think her round 1 takedown is going to be minus 400. So I think you probably get a nice little price to do it that way. I'd look to play it that way, but like, I did the show Just Win Baby Wednesday, and he likes a Loma finish here. I mean, it's hard for me to say. Like, I could see it. It's not like it's inconceivable for me to think that Loma could finish Brazil because Brazil just is not great off her back.
Right.
But I think comfortably Loma probably just gets a few takedowns, and I like her cardio better here too. But again, I'm never betting, and I realize like I was just talking about this with somebody yesterday, like. If I don't like one side because of the number, then the other side is inherently correct. Right. Maybe, but and I said, I'm like, there's merit to that argument. But at the same time, like, if you're not comfortable putting your money on that, then that's the best thing you can do is just discretion is the better part of valor. So like, I don't want to bet on Bruno Brazil. Even if this number was like minus 400 plus 330, maybe at that point I'd be like, all right, but for me, Bruno Brazil hasn't done enough for me to. I need a better price than that.
Yeah, exactly. We're in no man's land in this case. Next fight, Balaji.
Once in a while.
Yeah, we all have our moments. Taking on Timothy Kwamba. Happy birthday, Timothy Kwamba, by the way. 25 years young today. I have no props for this fight. That's why Hot Dog Guy's there. He's like, where's my fucking props? Minus 190 for Oki, plus 165 for Kwamba, 95 and 75. Lou, start us off. You can take as long as you want because I don't have hardly anything to say here.
So, yeah, I don't have much to say. So I didn't really do a whole hell of a lot of tape and effort, but I do remember both guys from the Contender Series fights. And Oki, let me just pull this up. But I remember with the Oki fight, and I was not one of the people in the community that had bet him on the Contender Series. I think I might have passed on that fight, if I'm not mistaken. But he came in against just the kickboxer
Dylan
guy.
Salvador.
I don't know if
he was
this
plus
is
148.
Yeah, and he came through with like just a big shot early.
Both guys came through at plus 148.
I was more impressed with Kwamba. I want to see him on the scale. He's fighting, so he usually fights at 145. They're having this fight at 155, so he's not cutting as much weight. I think he's the play. If he looks okay on the scale, I would probably just go small play here. I mean, look, I think the days of like this whole, well, it's short notice, so like, but dude, a lot of these guys like from the regionals, like it's like stay ready. So I'm not really like overly concerned with the short notice. If he looks good, I think he's worth a play. He's probably worth a play in DraftKings too, because I think you're getting, I mean, what do you call this? It's not like completely uneven, but it's like it's 200 short of like what it should be. Unbalanced. Yeah, it's not completely or unnatural.
Yeah, it's way wider than 200.
Oki's it's 17. It's 17,000.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Math. But I'll pick Kwamba here for the sake of having a pick, and if he looks good in the scale, I will get to a bet on him. Small bet.
Do you know that he fought 6 days ago?
Kwamba?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's ready.
Round 2 KO against Michael Stack. Tough enough. 135. Yeah. I was doing data input. I'm like, really? He fought 3 days ago? I was like, that's fucking
interesting. So he's fine.
Yeah, I'm probably just like you said. I like Kwamba. This is a fucked salary position though for both parties. Like Oki should be 8,700 now, and he's $800 more than that. He's the most expensive dog on the card. Obviously, his opponent dropped out, and now he has what DraftKings would consider a better opponent, but he's at the same salary. So already I was kind of fading him, but that's also tough because he beat Dylan Salvador and put up 113 on him. But again, is Kwamba better than Salvador? I mean, I have no idea. So I'll probably play some Oki, but I'm not going crazy for him. Kwamba I'll probably have more at 7,500. He should be, if Oki's 95, he should be 67. So in if you look at it from that way, you're also paying $800 more than you normally would have to for Kwamba in this case. But apparently the UFC thinks he is better than his opponent, so the salary may be warranted. Only scored 47.5 points in his fight against Mateo Vogel. I mean, he got taken down once. There's not much to say here as far as stats. Just I'll have more Kwamba than Oki. I don't know who the pick is though. I'll go with Kwamba, I suppose. I don't have hardly any dogs picked.
we did a great job breaking that fight down for the audience, and this is a tremendous job.
Officer Giles, wee woo. Carlos Prates minus 175 doesn't go, plus 215 does go. Minus 240 for Prates, plus 205 for Trevin Giles, 92 and 7K. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Prates here, but I am interested to hear what you have to say. I just think he has the chance. I think him in a win probably scores better than Officer Giles in a win, who scores like 2 points a minute over his last 5. Yeah, 2.5 over his career, averaging less than 80 points per win, even at 7K. I mean, I know he's 10, 11xing, but that's still disgusting to think about. Meanwhile, Prates scored 3.5 points a minute in his fight against Mitch Ramirez. Landed a knockdown, outstruck his opponent, striking at only almost 5 points or 5 strikes landed per minute. and he got a KO TKO in the 6th minute there. Trevin Giles, I mean, his wins are, I mean, if you take out the judges and just go by stats, he did not win that Preston Parsons fight. So he should be 1-4, with his lone win being Luis Kosuke. Disgusting. So yeah, give me Carlos Prates. I'm sorry, officer. I just can't I can't back you up here. So yeah, I'm going Prates, the nightmare. It's the nightmare versus the problem, Lou. What do you think? Also, last thing, Giles, when he loses, his opponents score on average 107.58 DraftKings points. So yeah, give me Prates.
This isn't such a weird fight for me because, like, there's a lot to like about Giles here, just in a vacuum. Like, he's fought better guys, which is great. The problem is he's been killed by better guys. So it's like, like, so I don't really know what to make of that. The 2 wins that he's had recently, the Kosei win was like, I could tell you the bet I had in that because I had a sizable bet on the under. And remember, like, I think it was like midway to the 2nd round. I'm like, I just can't believe I'm going to lose this fucking bet. Like, how is this fight so bad?
Decision.
And then I had a bet on Preston Parsons that at the time I was aggrieved and thought I had been maybe robbed. And then I went back and taped it again. And I was like, nah, it was, I mean, like, I can make the case.
It was
way.
close.
I don't feel robbed. And honestly, like, okay, but like Parsons can't strike. There's no striking. And he got beat up a little bit on the ground. Like, got out grappled. And then Kosei, it just does nothing. So, like, I don't know how to really rate those wins. Like, and Giles is, by the way, that was in Texas. So it's when Giles was he got a little home cooking on the judges' scorecard with the Parsons fight.
That's true.
Well. So here's my dilemma. I think Prates is like every Dana White's Contender Series guy I've ever seen. Like, good leg kicks, hits hard, untested cardio. I feel like I've described many people from Dana White's Contender Series the exact same way. So here's my problem. How good do you feel if this fight gets to like the back end of it, to like the end of the 2nd round? You don't feel good with a Prates take. No. And if Prates gets a KO, it's probably not late. If he gets a KO, it's probably, so if you like him, just play him like 1-2. But I would say be prepared. I don't want to get involved in this one, but I think it's going to depend on the live number. If Giles is still in there after the 1st round and he's really, even if he's just lost a round, I'd be curious at a live number there. If you gave me something big enough, like a 400, because I think that Giles probably wins round 3 at a pretty high clip. So
yeah,
we'll see if he gets the grappling going, but I want to pick Prates. I do think he probably gets a flashy KO here, but I don't like betting newcomers like this that I think are relatively one-dimensional at this price against a guy who, again, has fought, like, he's had a lot of UFC fights against pretty good guys. So,
yeah, strength of schedule is actually very, very good. And if you like that that Photoshop, just hold on. You got one more coming up for sure.
God, I can't wait.
I'm so glad you can't see the previews, Lou. Next fight, Adolfo Vieira, the black belt.
Hunter. I can see them. All right.
Well, don't look at it then.
Well, I already looked, and that's too late.
Well, you don't know. Adolfo Vieira taking on Armen Petrosi, and apparently everyone thinks this is Armen Petrosi, the world-class kickboxer, when actually it's Armen Petrosi, an MMA fighter. Minus 200 doesn't go, plus 160, very close line. Basically a pick. I'm with Vieira, slightly tipping the scales a little bit higher at minus 118, 8,200, 8,000. Why don't you start us off, Lou?
So this is one of the trickier fights on the card, and I understand that. And I went back and forth this one a little bit, but I'm going with Petrosian here. I really wanted to take Vieira because you can make the case it's binary and that it's like he's going to get takedowns and he's going to get Petrosian out of there. And I don't know, man. Like, it's not like Vieira is just immediately going for takedowns. And I mean, the Cody Brundage fight, he's like, now I'll strike with this guy. And then Brundage bonks him twice. And he won that fight because Cody made a mental error. The Stoltzfus fight, like, people are like, man, his cardio looked in the 3rd round. He's getting a 3rd round finish. He was losing that fight. And Stoltzfus stinks. So against friend of the channel, Chris Curtis, Adolfo Vieira, it couldn't, and like, because look, and the nicest thing I can say about Chris Curtis is, except for the Imavov fight, his takedown defense is very good. So Vieira just couldn't figure him out. Now, Petrosian's takedown defense is not outstanding, but his cardio is really good. His striking is worlds better than Vieira's, and his get-up game's good. So, look, you worry about Vieira top timing Petrosian and like just wrapping up something crazy, but it's not really Vieira's style to do that so early in a fight either, because he knows his cardio is not great, so he's trying to pace himself. And like, I think Petrosian's just going to get a lot of body shots off and wear his cardio out, just sap his strength. And I don't know if we get a late finish, but I like Petrosian here, and I think the number is, I think you're getting a good price. I would have him as a slight favorite here. I understand why the number is, and if the people that love Vieira here for the takedown equity, I mean, I get it. I think it's a divisive fight. I just think Petrosian's going to land all the damage in this fight.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that with the 36% takedown defense. If somebody's on Vieira, then difficult to go in on him there. My problem is, I love your breakdown. I don't know who I'm picking yet. It's basically 50-50 fight. But the one thing I do know is Petrosian appears to have a governor, as I said on another show earlier today, a governor on his DraftKings points. He scores 81 points tops. That's it. 81.03, 77, and 81 exactly against RoboCop. So yeah, I don't know how I could, even at 8,000, he's the most expensive underdog on the card, might have a decent chance of winning, and he might not even 10x his salary because he's pretty much never done that. Meanwhile, Vieira has all of the DraftKings upside, in my opinion, and he's the cheapest favorite on the entire card. If he is able to get those takedowns, if the 36% takedown defense shows itself for Petrosian, or if Vieira, who's developed somewhat of a decent jab, can figure something out on the feet, I think his possibility at DraftKings upside is there. So give me Vieira. He's the play for me. I'm not touching probably Petrosian hardly at all, to be completely honest, whether it's in cash or GPPs. I like Vieira. I don't mind him in cash or big tournaments. But yeah, I think all the takedown, or all of the DraftKings upside, lies with him. So yeah, give me the black belt Hunter. Next fight, Michael Johnson taking on Darius Flowers. Speaking of True Detective again, look at that. Is that a spiral on his chest, Lou? What's going on there? Minus 280. Fight doesn't go. Plus 220 does go. Minus 138 for Michael Johnson. Minus 118 for Darius Flowers. 8,300, 7,900. I will start us off. Jesus Lord, this is not a fight I am looking forward to. I have no idea why I would need to play this fight. I don't know what to say. Clearly, I'm tongue-tied by this. I mean, Flowers, everybody's obviously on Flowers because A, Michael Johnson's so old at this point, and B, he hasn't looked great. Beating only Alan Patrick in his last 5 and Mark Diakese, losing to Fajeda, who he was beating until he wasn't, Jamie Malarkey and Clay Guida. So not exactly, great losses there. 2.5 points a minute, 83 points per win for Johnson over his last 5, and it's even worse than that in his career. I don't know what to do, man. I think both of these guys, I don't think Johnson scores well enough in a win or wins at a high enough clip to I don't know. I don't think he scores well enough to play a ton of, and I think Darius Flowers is too expensive. So I think this fight goes to decision. The winner scores 80 points, and I'm probably going to fade this one for DraftKings, to be honest. I wasn't impressed with, even though, he lost to Jake Matthews, wasn't impressed with Flowers in that loss. I don't know. I don't have much to say about this one. I think I'm going to fade it, Lou. What have you got here?
So how do you beat Darius? This is 2 cents and Aaron the Dog's guy, Darius Flowers. So how do you beat Flowers? You take him down and you submit him. Like, that's historically what you do.
Yeah.
Michael Johnson hasn't submitted anybody in like 14 years. And
he took down Alan Patrick once, and that's it.
And like, he's just not interested in it. He just wants to stay on the feet. He wants to bang. He wants to throw goofy volume. He wants to just be weird. He just wants to like throw oddball shit. And Flowers is like kind of a guy, and he's a guy, and he's still a guy.
Yep.
So no, I'm never betting this. And anybody like, if anybody like has like any kind of weird, like they really like one guy the most, like they have compelling reasons, like my guy. If anybody has like compelling reasons why they are like super feel strongly about one, like God bless your heart, because I don't. And this fight like doesn't go to minus 280. Like I mean, I think if anybody has finishing potential, it's Flowers. I do. And so the fight doesn't go with telling me to lean toward the Flowers side. I just can't get there. Like I can't. And like that's the thing is like MJ can look for like 8 minutes, 9 minutes of this fight could look like a contender to the title. Like we've seen it with him. Like we've seen him look good. Yeah, you can't, dude. So yeah, I don't want any part of this. I'll pick Flowers for the sake of having a pick. And,
yeah, I probably would too, I guess,
And like, what's the deal with this, like the chain necklace, a tattoo though? Like,
I don't know, man.
Did he used to wear one and he's like, man, this really irritates my neck.
Also, don't draw it straight down. Make it look like I'm constantly like
I didn't realize how windy a day it was, the tattoo parlor, when I got this fucking
right.
All right, let's move on.
It's ridiculous.
Room temperature mayo is
that could be another True Detective reference, Lou. So many of them.
It's definitely a thing.
Also, it's on Friday this week because of the Super Bowl. So hooray.
Have you liked this season or no?
So far, yeah. The last episode I didn't like a ton. I didn't hate it, but 5 and 6. There's only 2 left. It's gonna be
I'm waiting till the season's over. I'll just batch it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you don't like Jodie Foster, like go fuck yourself. That's all I gotta say.
Well, Contact, I think if it wasn't so long, I would say it was. I mean, it was a good movie. It was just a little long. And no, like I liked the first season. The second season, I didn't hate.
Second season's not great.
I didn't hate it as much as everybody else.
Right.
The third season was bad, and then so that's I don't know, man. Like, and I just finished Fargo season 5. Like, it's not going to beat that.
That's the one I'm doing next. I'm going to rewatch all of. I watched 1, 2, and the one with Mike Milligan, and I'm going to rewatch. I skipped one in the middle there.
Can I just for people that just tuned in? Let me explain the Twitter thing.
Yeah, let's go
once again. All right, so very quickly. So I'm in Twitter jail at the moment because of a tweet that I wrote Saturday to Monk of all people. Monk got promoted on Twitch Brian's like that he's like one of the best handicappers. So this is
I had the most first place finishes.
So this is Monk's. So for the record, this is Monk's fault for having all these finishes. I'll be back. Don't worry about me. So anyway, one of the responses was, I told Monk I would hit him with a tire iron and sleep comfortably that night. Like I wouldn't think twice about it. And it's obviously all in good jest. And anybody that's in this chat that's followed my Twitter knows this is like the least offensive thing I've ever written. So like out of all the things I've written like this. So that was Saturday. And then today I wake up and they're like, you've been suspended from Twitter. And I'm like, come on. And then I'm like, for what? And I saw what? I'm like, what? So Monk will appeal for me. You guys can feel free to appeal to Uncle Elon. My boss is going to appeal to him because he's like, how many followers did you have? I'm like, 18. It's a lot of work. Anyway, that's the quick story. Like, it's not a big deal. Like,
dude, he hurt my feelings. I was scared for my life. I had to report him. What am I supposed to do? Not report him?
I mean, it is a tire iron.
Yeah.
So if I would have said like you're Hitler and that you exterminate like races, that would have been okay by their guidelines. But threatening to hit you with a tire iron for being a better like fight picker than me is apparently like that's too far.
That's it. We don't tolerate that around these parts.
But anyway, that's why. Like, it's not a big deal.
Wild, dude. Exactly.
I'm really, just so you guys know, I like part of me loves it because like I kind of hate being on Twitter as much as I am. So like I'm all right. And if the last thing I did was threaten Monk,
yeah, that's too funny.
I'm kind of all right with it. Like if that's how I go out, I'm kind of all right with it.
Well, and this is some even more behind the scenes. I didn't even realize what had happened. I had no idea. And I get a message from Brady. yesterday. No, today. I got a message from Brady. And it said Lou will be on the show tonight, but he's suspended on Twitter. And I just wrote like, what WTF, basically. LOL. I turned into a
Tommy
a
told you
boomer
as well.
And then I asked Tommy, I was like, what the fuck happened? Why did Lou get banned? He's like, something about a tire iron. And I didn't even know what it was a reference to. I thought you threatened somebody else.
He's like, he's like, dude, that is, he goes, thank God they don't read our DMs. I'm like, yeah.
Thank you. 2 cents. I appreciate that. I'll recover somehow. I might have to take tomorrow off though, for sure. I don't know. My emotional state, very distressed right now. But with that,
all 5'8", 160 pounds of me, the big threatening. Oh God.
There we go. Yeah, Steve Gregory's on
Steve's so funny.
Her liver spots.
So funny, dude.
All right, we're there. I'll just do it. Next fight, Gregory Rodriguez taking on Brad Tavares. Rodriguez minus 140 doesn't go to do a decision. Plus 110 does go. Minus 240 for Obama Cop. Plus 205 for Tavares. 91 and 71. I don't know who's. I guess.
I'll start this one off. Doesn't matter.
Go ahead.
I'm not going to say too much about it. So I like Rodriguez here. I don't even think the line's like unbettable. Like, how do you beat him? You're either like a one-shot KO guy like Ferreira. Like, you could mention Cheaty because I think they could have very easily stopped that fight.
Oh yeah, you can see his brain.
Yeah, and that's typically stoppable.
This is my best one yet.
Or you're just like a tremendous volume guy and G-Rod kind of just doesn't fight an aggressive pace. Okay, well, Tavares is neither one of those things. He's not a one-shot power guy. He definitely, if you look at his stats from his volume, like he had 73 against Weidman, but like Weidman was literally just standing there like a statue. Like did nothing in that fight. But you look back and his average strikes in a fight are like, I think he had like 30 against Shoeface, who sucks.
Yeah.
But he has an average of about 50 strikes a fight, and 50 strikes a fight's not going to beat Rodriguez. I mean, the only thing that makes me leery here is that Rodriguez, like, look, man, maybe the chin is just, maybe it's going, dude. Like when it goes, and like he's been chinned, so it might not even take Tavares like crushing him to like really do some damage here. So, but I do favor G-Rod. I'll say the same thing we say every time he fights. He has a grappling advantage, and then I'll say the same thing. I also every fight he probably won't grapple in this fight, even though he should. He probably won't.
What a great comment right here as well. Yeah, and I realized I didn't get the outline on his head, and that's all I can see now, and I'm so upset about it. But yeah, obviously, yeah, I should do something. I should. I really honing it in now. This is my best work by far. And I'm an amateur. So yeah, give me. I mean, like Lou said, man, Gregory Rodriguez has the grappling advantage. Is he gonna fucking use it? He just refuses to fucking use it. Tavares, again, a guy with a governor on his DraftKings scores. He scores like 70 points when he wins. Sometimes many points less than that, like in the 50s. And he's probably going to go to decision here. In fact, over his last 5, how many wins in his last 5? His last 3 wins, Tavares averaging 62 points. When he loses, though, he gives up 94. So he does give up a ton of points, kind of a ton, relatively speaking, compared to what he puts out. But Rodriguez could 10x off that. He's made the optimal lineup 3 out of his last 7 fights. Indy scores over his last 5, 4.72 points per minute. That is the highest overall on the entire card, and 116 per win, also the highest on the entire card. That said, his strength of schedule is dog shit. He beat, say it with me, Lou, Dennis Tululin. That's where you're supposed to say Tululin.
Pinky. Sorry,
there we go. You're good. Yeah. Cheaty, and then Julian Marquez, who I don't regard very highly at all. So I think Rodriguez can win, but I also kind of think this is going to decision, even though Tavares has kind of been falling apart lately. And 36 is no way old, but this guy has a gazillion UFC fights, so his fight age is probably a little bit more than that. Give me Rodriguez. I'm not too excited about his price tag, and I kind of think Tavares could edge out a sneaky decision, but So I'm not going to go crazy with RoboCop. So yeah, give me RoboCop, but I'm not crazy.
Can we handle this question before we move on?
Absolutely, man.
What do you think the main event's going to be?
Oh yeah, I was just thinking, what's the main event? What does he want us to predict? I thought he meant the winner. Well, they haven't announced Bilal and Leon yet, but there's no way that fight is going to be. I mean, we would riot. The people, I wouldn't, but the people would riot.
That could be like the first title fight on the undercard ever.
And it's not Connor. Personally, I'm not excited. Yeah, title fight on the under. Sorry, I missed that one. I'm not excited about the possibility of Israel and Dricus. That doesn't do it for me, really. So honestly, I don't know. If it's not Israel versus Dricus, I don't know what it is.
I think it's going to be McGregor against Brock Lesnar.
Ooh.
No. At like
bring him right in.
At like 193. They'll meet at like
I don't think he has any WWE obligations anymore.
I think no, he does not. But that's also the same company now. So
true.
They're gonna do a clean sweep. I gotta think it's gonna be McGregor against somebody. I mean,
against who?
I don't know. I don't really know, but like, look, it's one of these cards where, like, I've said this on the show before, like with WrestleMania. With things like WrestleMania, they don't book WrestleMania for people that watch wrestling. They book WrestleMania for people that are either for you or for lapsed fans to be like, oh shit, there's the Undertaker. There's like, just put the names that like they remember. They don't care about anything else. Like, so I think for a card like this, look, I want to watch Bo and Cody Brundage. Also, I really don't want to watch that fight for a lot of reasons. For like my own health, I don't really want to watch that fight. But I don't think that's a fight that's like sells. That's not a fight that like sells like, you know, to casual fans. But McGregor on top against like anybody, people are going to be like, oh, I got to go find a spot to watch it. So I don't really want to see him in the main event. Like, I'm not a McGregor guy. Like, I never have been. Like, but I certainly acknowledge like his importance to them growing.
The only reason I didn't bring him up is because of what Dana was saying, like yesterday or today, or he's like, well, maybe we'll get Connor and so in the fall, or he was just he was just really kind of, I don't know. I just didn't get the assumption that Connor was going to be fighting anytime soon.
It just comes down to the bag they're willing to throw at him, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Come on.
But they need to throw something because
let's move on to the main event.
Have no main event. Ooh.
I want to move on to the main event of this card.
You want to just skip to the main event?
No, the next fight is the main event.
Oh, I was like, what? This is unprecedented. All right, everyone, say goodbye to Robama. We shall see you again. Sleep well, young prince.
This is the true main event.
Yeah, Robert Britchik taking on Ihor Poteria. Look, he looks drained in that photo already. Minus 850. I think his family photo's fading like Back to the Future. Plus 525. Minus 162 for Britchik. Plus 142 for Poteria. 88.74. Yeah, Jesus Christ. I guess Britchik early, right? Britchik early for the early knockout. Maybe volume. He knocks Ihor down. He gets a slight ground and pound, and he gets the early finish, and that's how he scores well at 8,800. So he's not, I don't think he's outpricing himself. And the guy has 22 pro fights. We're not talking about a guy with 8 pro fights like some of these other guys. Pateria, good God. I don't know what. Yeah, I kind of see Jared. I'm with you. There we go. I'm kind of with Jared. I just want to see the stupid fucking dance because he's not going to shoot it into the sky this time. He only shot it into the sky because he had so much respect for Mauricio Hua. What's he going to do this time? Everyone's begging to know. But yeah, he gives up a shitload of points, almost 5 a minute, 111 when he loses. I think I'm trying not to steal your thunder. A late finish from Pateria. I mean, he has 7 sub wins, dude. I don't know. If he's gonna win, it's probably gonna have to be a late finish where he like is getting beat down and then finds a sub. That's kind of how I would see it. But I guess you got to play both sides in GPPs, and that makes me a sad panda. Lou, what do you got here?
So his Pateria's round 2 sub is 40-1, and his round 3 sub is 50-1.
Holy shit!
In case you were curious.
Holy shit!
What's good, you ho? What's up, Weezy?
Whoops, sorry.
So, dude, I don't fucking know what to do here, man. Like, I don't think Britchick's very good, and all the guys he's fought on the regionals are like either guys that are volume punchers or they're grapplers. Like, he's never facing anybody with a lot of heat coming back to him. And I could be wrong, but I don't know that he's ever faced a lefty. If he has, I didn't see the tape of it. So if Betya can do anything, it's like throw a good left hand. So he's been in the UFC longer. He's fought better guys. He's been killed by better guys. But like, is this where you just go a little contrarian and you say, like, fight starts round one? Do you play this a little contrarian and just say that fight starts round two? It's plus money. It's like plus 105 range.
Yeah.
Because and we've seen this so often. When you got two dudes with some serious power, you're like, man, they're just going to go after each other. But I don't know. I mean, this is the kind of fight where you have to mind your P's and Q's, knowing the kind of power they're going to throw back at each other. And you may get a few minutes of a staring contest. So do I want to clench my butt cheeks for 5 minutes and bet fight starts round two? Not really. But you can't bet the unders here. It's like minus 305 or some shit for under 1.5. It's not playable for me. And like, Easy said something in the chat. He's seen a lot of people with some love for Betya this week. But then you're still betting Ihor Betya.
Yeah.
So if you're going to play like a late sub prop for him and drop like a little bit of money on like that plus 4,000, plus 5,000, like, and just have fun with it.
Right.
I think that's fine. I couldn't even make this like the Yambag fight. Oh, Johnson Flowers is my Yambag.
I was saving it. If you hadn't said it by the end of the
Johnson Flowers is the Yambag special. I thought about making this one that, but I don't know. I mean, obviously there's a possibility that one of them gets starched in 2 minutes. So like, I don't really want to do that. Also, I'm counting last week's Yambag play. I had Kizriev and Muradov. And for all you guys that want to bet some footy, for all you guys want to play some footy, Phil Tits and Jizz Hornkamp. I moved the line on Jizz Hornkamp. Either I did or Subhuman or Steve G did. But dude, he was like plus 230 on Monday when I posted that parlay, and now he's like plus 175. So somebody hammered Jizz.
that line was on a rope, just moving around.
Tits, Jizz, and Hermansson round 5 for the bag. Yeah, you don't want to like.
Yeah.
Like, because if Brychek knocks him out in a minute, you're like, you're gonna say, well, that's what I get for betting Betya.
That's the problem with cards like this, especially with so many fights. You start to lose. You can't see the forest through the trees, and all of a sudden you're looking at your bet MMA tips on Saturday night or Sunday morning. You're like, I fucking bet on Ihor Betya. What the fuck? At least that's what I go through.
So and all these pictures of him this week, he's wearing like goofy hats. His beard is like all like, yeah, he looks like, and I got to be careful what I say here because I don't want to get thrown off of multiple social media platforms in like 24 hours, man. But like, he looks like, man, I really don't want to say what I'm about to say, but somebody who needs things that are special. That's how I'm gonna leave it.
Oh shit. Yeah, I can't even have him in the Red Beard gang. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know.
He looks like what's the fucking like if there was like a new version of Yakov Smirnoff, like it's him, or like all these pictures, it shows him like having a lot of fun in like scenery that doesn't lend itself to really being a lot of fun. Like he's at the mall and it's like, I love America, like it's like, all right.
Jared did it for you. There you go.
Love
it.
It was a
co-main event.
Okay, this is finally a fight I like having a pick.
Hold on, let's cleanse our palate and look at Robama one more time.
Never forget.
All right. Dan Ige taking on Andre Feely. Plus 145 doesn't go. Minus 175 does. Minus 170 for Ige. Plus 145 for Feely. 8,600 for Ige and 76 for Feely. Let's see. Why don't you start us off here with this co-main event? Thank you, Locker Room. What's up?
So this is one of the few fights that like I do have a relatively strong take on, even at this number. I like Dan Ige quite a bit here. I know Philly's coming off like a quick knockout win against Lucas Almeida. Lucas Almeida is coming off like he's a total kind of a fraud at this point.
Yeah.
You're giving me a fight where I really don't see any grappling here. I don't think Philly is going to be trying to take Ige down left and right. The kind of guys that have had success are the really good wrestlers that can just like Bryce Mitchell just completely getting Ige down, and took a ton of damage in a very close fight. Or the Korean Zombie where he just executed an absolutely perfect game plan in that fight. I think Philly's going to do what he always does. He's going to throw a lot of fancy kicks. He's going to start fading and like looking weird. And Ige is going to stand there like a statue and avoid any kind of big shots, have the crisper boxing. He's got the durability advantage here. I think he gets a KO here. I think he KOs Philly. It's like plus 260 range. I think he knocks him out, and he's got the power to do so. I think if he wants to work the body and stop all these like absurd spin stuff that Philly does, that's going to be there all day. And I just don't know how Philly, like, I know that Philly probably is going to throw more volume early, but I just can't see him landing the big shots. I think all the moments will go to Ige. And I think he could have a moment in each round very easily before he eventually gets the knockout here. So, and I don't think minus 170 is even wide enough.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking the same thing. I mean, I was just talking on a different show about the inconsistency of Andre Fili, and it's just so up or down, man. I mean, the fight against Pineda, he looked all right. No contest. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see that one finish up. And then Brito, minus 225 against Brito, and he came out and got finished in like 40 seconds. Then he gets, coming off of that, gets a win over a good opponent, in my opinion, Bill Algeo. Then he loses to Nathaniel Wood, who hasn't looked great recently. And then, of course, he beats Lucas Almeida because, as you said, I don't know how good Lucas Almeida actually is. But, man, I think like Dan Ige, much, much better competition. He's lost to Bryce Mitchell. Say what you want about him. Josh Emmett and Mavzar Evloev in his last 5. Much, much better competition. And I tend to agree here. Fili's far too inconsistent for me. And when he wins, he does not score very well. Obviously, he did against Lucas Almeida, but take that one out, and he's in the 80s, at least over his last 5 fights. What is he in his career, even with the Almeida fight? He's only at 91, so take that one out. He's probably under 90 points per win. Just kind of unimpressed overall. If he's off his game, I'm unimpressed overall. And I think Ige is the kind of guy to keep him off his game. He's not the name of like Lucas Almeida. Much, much better than that. So I agree, Lou. Give me Dan Ige for DraftKings, though. I think for cash, it's okay. Fili's probably more of a GPP play. I don't mind Ige. Yeah, it is kind of a gift line, especially that DraftKings line. Don't mind Ige for some GPP tournaments as well. But when he loses, he does give up a lot. But when Fili loses, he gives up 108 points. So, yeah, maybe Ige can cash in here. All right, Lou, we did it. Main event of the evening. I mean, could Joe try to look somewhat appealing for the camera here? Joe Pyfer, Jack Hermansson, minus 350 doesn't go, plus 275 does go, minus 240 big favorite for Pyfer, plus 205 for Hermansson, 9K and 7,200. Lou, for this one, I mean, obviously everybody's on Pyfer. He's going to finish Hermansson second. I've seen a lot of second round 1/2, seen a lot of that all week. He's beaten Abdul Razak. He's beaten Gerald Meerschaert, and he's beaten the worst fighter in UFC history, Alan Amedovski. Like, only 14 professional fights. Hermansson's got almost triple that. I guess just over double that. Let's not get crazy. Obviously, the better competition. That's not Joe Pyfer's fault. You know, he's a young guy. He's only had 3 UFC fights. Give him time. But still, Hermansson is not going to be an easy out. He is 2-3 in his last 5, but he's lost to Roman, Sean Strickland, and Marvin Vettori. So some pretty good names there. My heart wants to pick Jack Hermansson. DraftKings says play Jack Hermansson in GPPs and even in cash as a punt-ish play. But does he actually have a chance, man? If this goes to decision, I think he does. But how in the hell is it going to go to decision? My heart says Hermansson. My head says it's Pyfer by finish. And at 9K, he might actually be able to pay off a salary for once because he's fought in the UFC 3 times and has yet to make the optimal lineup, Blue. Has never done it. 97 points, 96 points, 105 points. Never made optimal. Is this the week he changes it?
I mean, it's not like those are bad scores, by the way. It's just
they're not, but at his salaries, he was 93, 87, and 9,700. I think he was the first 9,700 fighter we had ever seen at that point. I hate it. I don't like it.
I don't like Z nicknames.
No. If you're gonna go Z, you got to go 2. The Naruto rule. That's what you have to do. Those are Z's. But yeah, body bags. No. Yeah, Jack at 7,200 is a gift. I kind of think that too, man. But you can't write off Pyfer because he's so cheap compared to what he usually is. So my heart again, Hermansson. The head is probably Pyfer. Unfortunately, Lou, send us home. Who do you got here?
Okay, so first off, you mentioned the people that Pyfer's fought. Let's never forget that Jack Hermansson defeated friend of the channel, Chris Curtis. In the fight that not only did he beat him, but it turned Chris Curtis from everybody on Twitter loves this guy to everybody on Twitter hates this guy.
To a whiny boy.
Like it made him, he beat him so bad he got him to like curse an entire country. So Finesse brought up something that I think is, and I talked, all right, stop touching buttons.
Sorry, I didn't see it. You do it.
So he's got, or I'm going to get you with a tire iron.
Hey, somebody clip that.
So,
and then it's a Twitter.
I think if you're, and he even said, he corrected it and said he meant Pyfer. So here's the thing. Hermansson's going to throw more volume. There's no doubt because Pyfer's a pretty low volume guy. Pyfer has a huge power advantage.
Wait. So this comment is actually Pyfer?
Yeah, he corrected it. He corrected another one,
gotcha.
but I'm putting this up here for the round 1, round 2, round 3 part.
Sure.
I think if you like Pyfer, I think that is exactly the way to play it. Because if this fight gets extended, I'm not even worried about Pyfer's cardio in this case.
Right.
If this fight gets extended, why did it get extended? It's because Hermansson probably used the exact same strategy used against Chris Curtis. Leg kicks, stay on the outside, make it ugly, avoid the big shot. He is a really good friend. He's probably the one that reported me on Twitter, by the way. I would not be surprised if
yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true.
If he's ducking me. So yeah, I mean, no, he ruins everything, man. So by the way, the working plan is I'm going to tell Cody to get sick so that
Chris
could take his place against Bo Nickel and then just like goddamn die. Yeah, I will be freed. I'm again, out of all the tweets I've ever written, that's the one that got
not after I send in the clip of you fucking
So look, if this thing gets extended, it's probably that Hermansson used the same strategy and stayed on the outside and got a lot of leg kicks off. Where I think this fight's kind of interesting is I wonder if Pyfer's going to grapple. Right. I got to think he probably won't early. Like, and I don't know that Hermansson really will. Hermansson's not so much like a super proactive grappler as he's more like a counter wrestler. So I think dude, that's fine with me. I need the time off, man. I will graciously take 30 days off and like not think twice. Dude, this bothers people more than it bothers me. Trust me. So like, I think Pyfer finds the button, but it's like I said, but it's going to be the first 3 rounds because if this thing gets to the 4th, we don't know what Pyfer's cardio is going to look like, but it means Hermansson's doing everything he needs to do correctly. And it means Hermansson's probably going to stay out of trouble those last 2 rounds and win a decision. So the pick is Pyfer 1 through 3. 150 is a really good price. I saw it at like, I think my book had like minus 105, but I still don't think that's a bad price. I think if he's going to win, that's probably his win condition. I don't know how Pyfer wins a decision because he's probably going to lose every round until he gets to KO. I think Hermansson, just based on volume, is probably going to win rounds. So, unless Pyfer
even possible.
Yeah, they said he threw a punch harder than Ngannou by like, I don't know, it was like 0.2 miles per hour.
What he hits like a 1987 Honda Civic.
Like he threw a punch. I think it was 24 miles an hour or something like that. I forget. It was something along those lines. But yeah, if this thing gets to the 4th round, you're not gonna be happy with a minus 240 ticket. But I just think I don't think Pyfer. It's again, if Pyfer's not like throwing 50 power shots around and like swinging and missing, I don't think his cardio is really going to be an issue. And I don't think Hermansson finishes him. So it's either Hermansson by decision, which is a nice price, or Pyfer's going to find the button. But I think Pyfer gets it done more often than not. And first 3 rounds.
Yeah.
And then we'll see. And then I'm curious who Pyfer's going to get next, because he's going to get a guy in the top 5, top 7. So I'd be curious what they do there.
Yeah, it ain't going to be Chris Curtis. That's for sure.
I mean,
give him Marvin Vettori. If he beats Hermansson, set him up against Marvin.
Who? Pyfer?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting fight.
Oh shit! I shot Marvin in the face.
It's a shame. It's a shame that
there it is. See, Jared's on my side.
It's a shame. It's a shame he just fought him. But I like Pyfer versus Delidza would have been kind of a really funny.
Right.
fight.
Yeah, that's the first one I looked at, but probably
it would have been Pyfer by knockout or Delidza by like
flying
top rope calf slicer or something.
Yeah, shit. I was gonna say flying calf slicer.
like you would bet whatever bet MGM has is the widest like Goga Plata. You'd be like,
right. Yep. Flying reverse Peruvian necktie.
Yeah. But I think they're bringing Pyfer along with a matchup that suits him. Like, yeah, I don't have much more to say about that. Honestly, out of all of the fights we've talked about, the only bet that I'm willing to make right now that's not a prop is Ige. That's it. And then tomorrow I'm going to look through stuff. Again, if they give me a Loma line for like takedowns in the first, I'm going to probably hop all over that. But yeah, just not. Oh, and the Devin Clark round 3 KO. I'm going to take a poke at that.
Yeah.
Finesse is my guy. Go follow him, dude. I assume, I can't see it on Twitter, obviously, but I assume Finesse is doing a big Super Bowl prop thing on the Gold Boys channel or his own stuff or spaces. So Finesse does really good work with props. Very good work.
You know what I'm doing the night of the Super Bowl, Lou?
Not getting drunk.
Not getting drunk, but I am driving. I shouldn't be leaving the house, but
Wells is tricky.
Oh yeah.
Finesse, I know you didn't hear me talk about this fight. I think the world's on Griffin.
Mm-hmm.
I said I think Griffin maybe can win at 29-28, but I'm not. I think the line is there's probably no edge now on this line. So
yeah,
I'm rooting for Wells. I mean, obviously he's a Philly guy. Like, of course I'm fucking rooting for.
Yeah, right.
Wells and Pyfer, like Philly guys.
There we go. No, I'm going to see Dune in the theater, not the second one, the first one at Alamo Draft House. They're reissuing it.
Okay.
And I got myself a nice little
the new like the new first one, or
yeah, the new first one. Yeah.
Okay, not the one.
No, fuck that.
I don't even know how
fuck
long
all that
was.
No, just for the score. Score is amazing.
And we appreciate you guys on the chat hanging out. Let's get 30 people right now. 28 people.
Hell yeah. There we go.
For the free
we
loot.
Did it. 14 fights in an hour 12. We smashed it.
I know.
Smashed it.
I can't even tell the people what I'm doing.
Like.
So let me just answer this question. I have nothing to promote, and I can't tell you what I'm doing because right now I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I had to do promotion.
Oh, God.
I sent out a tweet about this show, Lou.
Well, it happens, but
13 minutes before the show.
We'll see when I'm back. But either way, like we're doing this show every week. So I have to get in touch with and I have to get in touch with George Gennaro, King of Narrative Nation, because he's my guest next week for props to consider and then maybe bet for the pay-per-view. So
nice.
I'll get in touch with George. I'm pretty sure I can just yell out my window and he'll hear me in like Spain or wherever the hell he lives. He'll know. He'll know it's free.
Right.
So there you go. I answered that question. So go ahead.
There we go. No, that was it. I got nothing else this week. Looking forward to next week. We will absolutely be doing the show whether Lou is on Twitter or not. Elon Musk cannot hold down the happy hour at all. So yeah, guys, as usual, we want all of you to enjoy the fight. So enjoy, and we will see you in the next one.